All right, no problem.
All right. And I can like put this, like, can I put the link on the what's it called? Can I put it on the like the community tab?
The link that you sent me.
Yeah, the link at the top. No, I don't want to do that, right? No, I don't want to do that.
If you do that, anybody else can jump in. Well,
Yeah.
They can't get in unless you click on their face. Like you have to click me in. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm watching. I'm my own live viewer. All right. So, actually, let me.
Okay. So what was your first thought?
Okay, so let me start it right now. So, hello everybody who is happening to be watching this. It's PR52 here, and I'm here with RTP, Real Talk Perez, and we're just basically just going to be talking about this whole DeSean Jackson thing, and kind of like the backlash from this. And to answer your question, my first response to this was cut him. And I didn't say that because of the ramifications of like my religion and, you know, stuff that was said. I was like, I'm one of those people who, if there is any type of media circus on my team, I just want them gone. Like, I felt the same way about Riley Cooper. Didn't want him here anymore because of the media circus. Tim Tebow, didn't want him here because, again, the media circus. I mean, let's be honest here. Tim Tebow is a really good person, but I was just like, I just don't want the media circus. I don't like the fact that, you know, his fans only showed up when he was on the field. You know, when Tim Tebow showed up on the field during that one preseason game, you know, they just directed everything towards his fans, and I was like, no, I don't want that. So, like, any type of media circus that happens with the team, I don't really want it. And however, once I kind of like simmered down a little bit, and I was like, well, as long as he apologizes, I'll be okay with it. I said, if he wasn't a public figure, he probably would have gotten released. He probably would have gotten fired. But that was just my personal standpoint. I was like, hey, you know, as long as you apologize and you attempt to make amends. Now, I didn't think Howie Roseman was gonna, you know, tell DeSean Jackson to do the Hava Nagila at his son's bar mitzvah and get the bagels and smear for the Sunday morning brunch. I had no idea that it was gonna end up going to that, but I'm happy about the conclusion about this. I'm happy about how this concluded. It's kind of like a bad South Park episode. If you ever saw the one where Randy has to spell the word in Wheel of Fortune and he spells it wrong, and now he's known as the guy who said the N-word on TV.
Right.
What
Well,
about you?
as far as me, there's two parts of it, I guess. The first thing I thought about it, and then what I thought about the reaction. Um, Before this had happened, obviously we had the whole, George Floyd situation going on, and all these different movements and all these different, um, just stuff that's going on in the world that's going on right now. And on Twitter, Ice Cube had tweeted something about the 12 tribes. He kind of hinted to the 12 tribes. I know you've heard me talk about that before. So
Yeah.
I've known about that, and I've talked about that before on few people's live streams before. And so when I first saw DeSean's tweet, that's what I thought of. I thought of, oh, another, celebrity slash, another somebody that's in the public's eye is kind of putting some stuff out there about the 12 tribes type of
Hmm.
situation about black Jews basically.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people know about that.
Hmm.
So that was my first thought, was like, oh, that's all I thought of, was because at first I kind of I saw somebody say something about it like in a negative light, and oh, what did he say? What did he do? And then I read it and I said, oh, this, I didn't think, oh, okay, I didn't think it would be blown up or anything. I just said, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. That person that had tweeted that kind of, in my opinion, I was like, okay, kind of overblown it. So then I see Twitter, and everybody's going crazy about it, and I'm just like, wow. And then it hit me like, okay, I understand why people are going crazy. Now, in
Hmm.
my opinion, it's wrong. It has nothing to do with what everybody was saying, because it to me it felt like it's just the fact that it says Hitler, that it said Hitler before whatever was said, blew everything up. If it was Bill Nye, the science guy, or anybody else, that no one would have even paid attention. But the fact that it said Hitler, it blew it up. Now, I'm the type of guy that I'm looking at. I feel like there's a lot of sheep in the world, and I feel like that was something that a lot of people was like, it said Hitler. I'm more than sure nobody can agree with it because it said Hitler. So you almost have to be like, this is negative, this is bad, this is bad. And I keep telling people, and you have me on Twitter, so you've seen me. I was going for like 2 days just on different people, like just
Yeah.
arguing and trying to get, like, I want you to explain to me what was so bad, besides the part that it's the bad person that said it. What
Hmm.
exactly did he highlight that was so bad?
Yeah.
And what he highlighted, what I'm reading, is the fact that somebody, let's take the point that it's Hitler that said it, let's take that away. Somebody said of a historic figure that what America was doing was hiding the fact that blacks were the original chosen people, and that the Jews are black, or could blackmail America, or are blackmailing America, or something like that, because of that fact. So again, the fact that I understand, okay, Hitler, I'm not saying, oh yeah, that gave Hitler the right to do what he did. No one's saying that. I wasn't thinking that at all. All I saw was the fact of, there you go. There's some more proof of there are black Jews, and people know about it. Not a lot of people know about it because people try to sweep it under the rug and don't want people to know that there are black Jews out there, and they could be the original chosen people. And I don't think, in my opinion, that makes sense. The way the world treats blacks, the way blacks are just viewed, the way a lot of people, including white people, especially white people, hate the fact that it's like, oh, everybody wants to be black and there's this black culture and blah blah blah. It's like, it, whether you're white, black, Mexican, whatever, uh, Asian, uh, Eastern, you cannot deny the fact that the world, like, watches black culture and wants to imitate black culture. Is that a sign of them being the chosen one? I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, going back to that, that was how I took it from the beginning. Was, oh, he's talking about the 12 tribes. He's hinting, without saying it. He's hinting about the 12 tribes, and you know, people saw Hitler and said, oh hell no. And another thing I wanted to talk about was when he made his apology, right?
Mhm.
In his apology, he said, "I wanted to just speak the truth, talk about the truth to my people." Right? He wanted to shine some light on the truth to my people. He didn't
Mhm.
mean like later on he backtracked a lot. Like, oh, I didn't know what I was talking about. I don't know how much he backtracked, but you can see that, in my opinion, I think it's because his owner's a Jew, his GM's a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people got pressure on him for his job, and you gotta be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But his original post, without the PR, without anybody telling him what to say, his original apology was, look, I was trying to tell my people this and that. I didn't mean for anybody to take it that way. I didn't even think no one would take it that way. Same thing Steven Jackson said. All he was trying to do was give the truth, tell his people the truth. And it's almost like, what truth? What did say it? Like they don't want to say exactly what they mean, but they're
Mhm.
trying to say like the truth is there, but I'm not telling you exactly what they mean. And then
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Shannon Sharp on, what is it, First Take or Undisputed? Undisputed.
Undisputed. Yeah.
And he's like, he did it twice, yesterday and the day before. Oh, I talked to Jackson, and then both Jacksons. The first Jackson, DeSean Jackson, and he said, "What were you trying to?" And I think this was a big lie. He said that he asked him, "What were you trying to prove?" And he was just saying that I was trying to get community unity with the people, with our people, which don't make no sense. That quote has nothing to do with unity. It's talking about black Jews,
Mhm.
and so that's what I thought when I first seen it, was simply he's trying to be like, hey, shout out black Jews. I don't know if he knows anything about the 12 tribes, but that's what I thought. He's talking about
Well,
black Jews.
it's funny that you said, because when I read the quote, I when I read the quote, I wasn't the issue wasn't the fact that he was quoting Hitler. It's funny because I don't even think Hitler even said something like that, because if anyone knows anything about the Nazis, I mean, there's a reason why Hitler didn't shake Jesse Owens' hand at the 36 Olympics. I mean, if Hitler liked black people, he wouldn't have shooken his hand. What really got me with this quote, stand here and
There,
say that there aren't Jews with nefarious white Jews with nefarious tendencies. Okay, there are
go
such
back a little
things
bit.
as
Go back a
what?
little bit because go back a little bit because you froze and I didn't get
Oh,
anything that you're
oh,
saying.
sorry about that.
Hitler,
I'm
Hitler
not gonna come out and say that there's no such thing as nefarious white Jews. Like there are like mustache twirling white Jews in my religion, but of course there's like bad people in every single group. But like it's the fact that it doesn't say some white Jews or a few white Jews. It just says because white Jews know that black people are the real children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. And the fact
right.
of the matter is that it's it's not even a secret amongst my religion, amongst like white Jews, like
Mm-hmm.
of course, like the original Jews who lived in North Africa and the Middle East, of course they weren't white. Like 6,000 years ago, there weren't white people living in 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 the Middle East and North Africa. Now, you might say that the original Jews were black. My interpretation is that they were Middle Eastern, right?
Right.
They're the type of people who you might find in like Egypt, or you might find in like Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon.
Right.
Moroccan people are, I wouldn't classify them as being black. I would classify them as being like Arab. But that right there might just be just a just an opinion one way or another. But
Right.
the main point is that most white Jews know that the original, Moses, he didn't have white skin. Jesus,
Right.
he didn't have white skin. I mean, that's fairly obvious. But the fact
but
of the
it's not,
matter,
that part is not though. That part really isn't. You would think so, right? Like, especially like me, I grew up in church. Okay, I grew up in church my whole life. I'm talking about I would go to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, Wednesday nights. Like, I went to church all the time. I grew up in church from my dad's side, and I never really thought of the fact that Jesus was more closer to my skin color than he was to your skin color.
yeah,
I always thought that he was more your skin color. It wasn't until I got older where I was like, well, duh. I mean, wouldn't he be more closer to Middle Eastern and closer to my color than anything? You know what I'm saying? It
yeah.
wasn't until then. And it's because of a reason. I mean, you don't see Middle
It's
Eastern looking Jesus. You
it's
see white Jesus.
it's because it's because of the fact that it's because of the fact of the Renaissance, and most depictions of Jesus in the Renaissance period was white. I mean, if you've ever seen 21 Jump Street, Jesus is Korean in 21 Jump Street. It's Korean Jesus, right? So like these cultures, they make them look like whoever they want to make them. But
the culture in America is white. That's what I'm saying. It's not about, oh, if you went to an Asian, then he would probably look Asian, and if you went to this, it's America. It's what America shows you. When you see it on American TV, or I don't know, I can't speak for UK TV, but if you see it on American TV, if you see American movies, if you see anything that it's America, you see white. You see movies of Jesus on TV, it's a white Jesus. It's white, you know what I'm saying? Unless they're slaves, then you see them a little bit darker, you know what I'm saying? But it's just American. That's America. That's what you're seeing in America. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie that religion has become whitewashed. I'm not gonna pretend that, but it's very interesting that you got that type of response from people, because that wasn't the response that I would have given. The reason why I looked at it and I was like, okay, people are going to be upset about this is because the quote doesn't single out just a few people. The quote signals, and I'm not saying that was DeSean Jackson's intention. Obviously, with his response, it just seems like I don't know if he understood what that meant, but like the whole quote talks about how white Jews want to blackmail America and white Jews want to hide this secret, when I will say maybe
but it's
30
not the Jews hiding it. It's America.
No, it's white Jews. White Jews want to hide it. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know. So this is a secret that white Jews are hiding from not only white citizens.
Read the whole thing. Are you sure? Read the whole thing.
It says Hitler's. I'm gonna replace words with other words. So Hitler said, because the white Jews know that the black people are the real children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. I'm guessing the means they will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if black people know who they are. Okay, so if black people know that they're the original Jews, then then the white Jews won't be able to do world domination, which I'm not sure what that has to do with. I mean, let's be honest, if you have money, you can get world domination whether black people know that they're the children of Israel or not. And then the final sentence is, the white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. Now, here's the thing. When DeSean Jackson originally made his apology, which he was like, okay, this was what I want. He circled the wrong quote. The quote should have been the last sentence. Okay, that should have been the highlighted thing that he spoke about, which, if your theory if your theory is the fact that black people are the original children of Israel, and of course, you know, it's not a secret that, you know, the white people haven't been so nice to black people over the past 400 years, then that should have been your quote. That should have been what you highlighted. But he highlighted the rest of it, where he said that white Jews will extort America and their plan for world domination, and they will blackmail America, that kind of stuff. Now, here's the thing. Even if that was true, it's messed up to even say that. Because here's the thing, right? I'm not getting any checks from the Rothschilds or George Soros. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a conspiracy and all of us are in, and all of us white Jews are in on it, I'm not in on it. I can barely control a classroom of 20 kids. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. See, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant by sheep are gonna be sheep, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault if a whole bunch of people see what Hitler wanted you to see, right? When Hitler said that, he had a whole bunch of people that he's convincing that all Jews are bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's convincing his country, a whole bunch of all the Jews are bad. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm reading it. I know all Jews are not bad. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't need Hitler underneath to say this Jew and this Jew only. When I read it, you've seen me tweet. I see it. I see nothing but facts.
I don't even think the quote is real. I don't.
A lot of people saying it's not real. They can't prove that it is, but they can't prove that it isn't.
I say that because in Mein Kampf, at least, which is what I was trying to quote to people, but I couldn't write it on YouTube because it kept deleting my comment. It specifically says that one of the reasons why Hitler hates white Jews was because they were bringing black people from Africa to Germany. Like, they were befriending black people in Germany and bringing them up, or black people in Africa, because, of course, Germany had colonies in Africa, and bringing them up to Germany, and that was one of the reasons why Hitler hated white Jews. So this, whatever's going on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
White Jews right now are some of the biggest advocates for Black Lives Matter. Now, I hate to be like anecdotal Andy, but if you go ahead and, like, or not you, but me, if let's say I have 200 Facebook friends who are Jewish, I'll say that about 80% of them were nonstop posting Black Lives Matter, positivity about Black Lives Matter. There are about 5,000 Jewish organizations who advocate for Black Lives Matter. So something's going on here where someone's pitting, like, Jews against black people against Jews. Like, something's going on here, because most of us, and I say most of us because there are some Jews that I don't like, but most of us are on board with support, like universal support.
Here's the thing with that. When you say there's a lot of Jews that are in with Black Lives Matter, I don't even think Black Lives Matter, the organization, is owned by black people. I think they're owned by, like, other people. So here's the thing with that. Okay, you've seen me on Twitter, Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Even tweeting that and knowing that, I know that there's always a underline. There's always a reason in the background. There's always something else, whether it's to keep us occupied, whether it's they have some type of agenda. And when I say they, you've already mentioned some names. Rothschild, some of the people like that. I completely believe that there are other people pulling strings, whether it's them pulling strings on, our government, other governments. There's people pulling strings, period. That's what I truly believe. And when we have events, big events like this pandemic that's going on right now, when we have things that's going on like that, I always believe there's some reason. There's some reason. When the whole COVID-19 situation came out, they passed a bill. Okay, the I forgot what it's called, but it's called something 666 6666 four sixes. Right? Have you heard about that bill?
No, I have never heard of that.
It's called something 6666. Okay, and what it is, it's a bill that you have to have a chip inside of you showing that you've been scanned or you're free of COVID. Okay, this bill happened when all the rioting was going on. Okay, this bill passed through. So I'm always like, there's something happening, something that they trying to keep our minds away from every time something happens. Okay, so going back to the whole, Jews doing the Black Lives Matter. Let's say it was one of these high, Jews that pulling some strings, saying, okay, let's use that movement right now. Let's do that. Whether they're trying to get rid of, maybe they're just trying to get rid of police to make it easier to do, whatever they want to do. I don't know. There could be so many things. So that whole thing of, oh, there's a lot of Jews and that, I understand that. I'm not saying that there's problem with Jews or anything like that. When I tweeted on Twitter, I see nothing but I see nothing but truth. A lot of people was like, how can you say that? Da, 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 da. What you said was, it just generalized Jews. It generalized Jews. All Jews are doing this. All Jews. I don't see that. I mean, that's what he meant. That's what Hitler meant. But obviously, I use my brain power, and obviously, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, all Jews are trying to. No, I'm not even talking about.
Do you think that's what Louis Farrakhan meant?
I don't. What did he say? I don't.
He's the guy who wrote the book.
Of
He's the guy who's quote unquoting Hitler. He's the guy who's using that quote.
Do I believe what he said there?
Do you believe that he has negative opinions about all white Jews?
From what I've heard, he does. I don't know. I don't follow him like that to know,
Okay.
like to, you know what I'm saying, to say, oh yeah, he talks a lot about this, or I don't really follow him like that. But again, when I seen that quote, what I said was, I don't see no lies here. And the reason why I don't see no lies there is because, one, I do believe, I know there's black Jews, but I do believe that they could be the chosen people. That's one. The second part about where he said extort Americans and blackmail them and all that stuff. This is why I said that's true. Because again, I do believe that the Rothschilds and all them people that have that money are pulling strings on America and are pulling strings and around the world, period, really. So when he talks about domination and world domination, I think we're there already. We've been dominated. This world's been dominated. We're like at the mercy at some point. You got Jews owning everything, whether it's music, movies, entertainment. So you got high powered Jews that can make some moves, okay? And again, that's not 80% or 90%, right? It's just like a couple of big names that got power like that. So when I say that I see facts, that's what I see. I see facts, and I see that's true. And then here's another thing. What do you think was worse, the Holocaust or slavery for black people?
For black people, which one was worse?
Yeah.
Well, because black people weren't in the Holocaust.
I know. I said Holocaust or slavery for black people.
Oh yeah, slavery, of course.
Okay. My opinion, it doesn't matter. It's both bad, right? But why is it that it's like blacks and regular white people can contest to this? If it's a black person, this is what they say. If it's a black person, it's like, oh my God, oh, because he's black, oh my God, because he's black, right? Like white people complain about they don't like Black Lives Matter because they feel like black lives are the only ones that matter. Every time they shout it out, It's like, oh, they're the only ones that matter. If there was a white guy that got killed by a cop, no one cares. But as soon as a black person says something, oh, then black people get like baby. Like that's how they act. That's how they kind of feel about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny that pass or however you want to call it, that wins trumps white people unless it's Jews. Jews trump blacks. You get what I'm saying? You got a whole comment of black Jews and talking about how America or Jews are keeping blacks down or whatever. But the part about the Jews at the end where it says that Jews are extorting, it overrides the first part about the black Jews. It's like, okay, that's more important than the fact of black people might actually be the chosen people, which could be the reason why they're being looked at the way they are looked at around the world. Okay.
Yeah.
When you talk about Jews and the Holocaust, which was terrible, and then you got the Jews in the Roman days when they were doing the Egypt and the pyramids and all that, they were what, like more Middle Eastern, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Right. That's what you would say. The Bible says that Jesus' hair was like wool, his feet were like burnt grass.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, it's depicting darker skinned people.
Of course.
So
yeah.
So I'm saying it kind of seems like if you put all those timelines together, it kind of seems like, yeah, somebody was those chosen people have been going through it, and there's only really one kind of people that are still going through it. You know what I'm saying? They've been going through it. The other thing is, what happened to their history?
It got taken away. It got
okay.
It got stripped from them because if you're a black person living in the United States, then you don't know what area from Africa you are from. You have no idea. Because
what if they weren't from Africa?
That's interesting.
That's the thing. They
were probably from Africa.
No, they weren't. There's a group of AOCs, I think. I forgot what it's called. Anyways, this is how I learned about the 12 tribes. It was a Puerto Rican who basically broke it down to people in the streets of New York of how Puerto Ricans became Puerto Ricans. And as he's breaking that down and saying how the tribes that we're from, I think it's called Ephraim, has came down, and also with the tribes of Judah, the blacks and the other Hebrews and Israelites, how we migrated and how it became of them becoming slaves, which was basically when they migrated from where they came from, which is going into Africa or even down more into Africa. The Africans who are there and like, these guys are weird. Okay, you don't have to be racist to understand that if you really know black people, if you really know a Jamaican, if you really know a Dominican, they all look black. But if you really know them, you can tell the difference between an African American who's a black person and someone who's really from Africa, and a Jamaican and a Dominican. They all are dark, but you can really see the difference. So my point is this: when we're all migrating down, Africans see the blacks and say, you guys are not us. You guys praise a different God. You guys don't pray to the same gods we pray to, which would explain the reason why they sold, when they say, oh, Africans sold Africans to whatever. That would explain why they sold those Africans to the Spaniards or whoever you want to say, that ended up taking them to America, which is how I believe the chosen people were stolen, because they were sold by Africans. And that's what I see from that. What do you think about that?
So, I don't know. I've never heard that before. The reason why, and again, the reason why I know that, the original Jews weren't white people is because I know about history. I've never heard about that history, but that's definitely interesting to listen to, and it's something that I would want to read about more, even if I don't 100% believe it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's something that I try to tell everybody. Is like, I'm not saying, oh, you should believe. Just listen to it and tell me, because and I'll send you the link to the thing. And again, he even tells you what book you can because he's like, it's all in the book. It's all in the history books. The book that he has is like a $400 book. He's like, it's like a $400 book but you don't have to
Okay.
buy the book. Obviously, all
Yeah.
you got to do is listen to what he's saying, and he'll break it. Not only will he break it down in the history books, but he'll break it down from the history books to the Bible, and it all align and match up all together from when they migrated, where they migrated from. The Bible explains where they migrated from. The history book explains to you exactly in our map what the Bible is talking about, and he'll break it down to you all the way. You should watch
When
that, and then
before I do, when did they migrate there? When did they
I don't
migrate down?
I don't remember the time he said or
Okay.
whenever it was, but
Yeah,
I
because
remember.
many people say the reason why there are two theories about why white Jews are Jewish, and they say that during the diaspora, some of them went north, some of them went north into Eastern Europe and did their thing up there. Other people say that there were like you said, either Middle Eastern or black-skinned Jewish people who went up there and were like, okay, convert to our religion, because these were people without a religion. So
Right.
that's I don't know which is true. I've never done a genetic testing. I've heard people say that Ashkenazi Jews tie their lineage to Israel. I am not sure about that. But again, when I read that, it would have been as if I had read Black People Are Thugs. If you've ever seen the movie Birth of a Nation, have you ever seen that movie, Birth of a Nation? It's like
Yeah,
it came out like in the early 1900s. Basically, it's one of the most racist. It's more racist than Song of the South. They basically depict black people as like they'll steal your daughter and rape her, basically. That's where the whole racism with blackface comes from.
right.
And they'll steal your TV. Like, of course, like if you read that, and I would be like, holy crap, that's terrible. Because sure, are there there might be certain black people who do that, but
Yeah,
it's
the
definitely
criminals
not
never
true about the whole
break.
population.
Right.
It's
And
0% true about the whole population.
I get what you're saying as far as that. Like, that's why people are mad at that, because it depicts, oh yeah, all Jews, da 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 da. And I understand. I completely understand that. If you was to sit there and try to tell me, yeah, that's what we're saying, you agree, right? I'm like, no, hell no. I'm not saying all Jews are like this, or I'm not even saying, again, like I said before, I'm not even talking about 90% of Jews. I'm talking about the guys that are on very high places that are pulling those strings. In my opinion, that's who he probably was talking about. But for him to be doing
Oh,
what he
sure.
was trying to do, you know what I'm saying? For him to convince this whole country, not this country obviously, but the country that he was, Germany, for him to try to convince all of them, he probably obviously he was trying to say all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How else could you what's the word I'm looking for? Have people agree to kill all the Jews. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I understand that's probably why he said it like that, to convince that all of them. But
Yeah.
again, when I said when I say I don't see no lies here, it wasn't because I said, oh yeah, all Jews are this. It definitely wasn't that. And for you to say that that's why people were mad about it, I've told you for the last couple of times, like you are someone that can sit there and actually rationalize and, okay, let me look at it this way. Okay, let me look. Okay, I see your point, but this is what I'm saying, which is why we're here doing this, what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with what you're saying as far as this is why they are mad. But I honestly don't think that is why a lot of people were mad. I
Okay.
honestly think a lot of people were mad is just because they said, how the heck could you quote Hitler? You being a smart person, and you being a person that's looking at every, I mean, come on, your fan base, I mean, every fan base is stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen you get mad at Eagle fans because they just don't think rationally. They don't think things through. They just, oh, this is what I'm going with. And if you try to change your mind, you're just completely wrong, and we're enemies now. And you're not like that.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is I think you're giving more people more brains than they should. You're giving them a little bit more credit of being smarter than what they should. Because if that was why they were mad, and again, that is why I was on Twitter for all day, that one whole day, because I wanted people to try to explain to me, and they couldn't. All they kept saying, all they kept coming back to was, if you're gonna agree with Hitler, then I can't talk to you. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with, like, I know
Yeah,
his name is there, but that's not why I'm saying what I'm saying. And I truly
yeah,
believe that's not why DeSean Jackson quoted that. I
yeah.
truly believe he quoted it because he was trying to say, black people, we are the chosen people.
And,
Like, wake
and,
up. You know what I'm saying?
and the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to stand here and do the whataboutisms, and I guess we'll spend around like the last like 6 or so minutes talking about this, but I'm not going to sit here and do the whataboutisms. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, what about what happened to Riley Cooper? And because I said cut Riley Cooper the moment that happened.
Right.
On a personal matter, I think they're keeping DeSean Jackson because he's a good football player, and they can't get rid of his contract. But I mean, it's it's big balls for Lurie and Roseman, who are two culturally Jewish men. And do I think that DeSean Jackson needs to go with Julian Edelman on a Holocaust museum tour? No. I don't think that. I think that a sincere apology, which he gave 2 or 3 times, is good enough. I mean, do I think that they threatened DeSean Jackson with cutting him? Yeah, I think that they did. If I had said something like that, I'm sure my principal wouldn't be too happy with me saying that. And along with Malcolm Jenkins and his comment, I thought it was powerful. And this is like the horrible aspect of the media just picking and choosing what they want, because the media, latched onto what Malcolm Jenkins said. Now, I don't agree with everything that Malcolm Jenkins says, but they kind of picked on what he said, and he said, Jews are not our problem. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, there are black Jews. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not your problem. I mean, you'd want to defend black Jews more than anybody or anybody else in the Jewish community. But I think what he's trying to say is that this isn't our battle. We're not trying to fight Jews. White Jews aren't the biggest issue that's stopping us from reaching our goals, right? I'm sure there are some white Jews who are, and they know who they are, and we know who they are, but they're not the issue. The system is the issue more than anything. The system is the issue. The killing innocent people is the issue. The Breonna Taylor, the 3 cops who killed her, they're still one got kicked off the force, and none of them have been arrested. You got people like Brock Turner, who raped girls behind a dumpster, and he gets 2 months for good behavior. And then a basketball player in Tennessee, he did the same thing. He got 10 years. So the system needs to be changed. Amount of accountability needs to be changed. You got a kid Elijah, I forgot his last name, in Colorado, who got choked out for no apparent reason but the fact that he was walking around black. And the prosecutor was like, well, we can't do anything because he didn't have any injuries. Well, he clearly got choked out for no apparent reason. So the system needs to be changed. I've always said, they defund the schools when the schools fail. Why can't they defund police departments when there are clear abuses in the system? When I talk about Black Lives Matter, that's what I think more of, because a lot of people will go into what about black on black crime? And you have to explain to them, well, that's just crime. That's just crime. Like, all crime is unacceptable, but crime committed by people who are trying to protect you is even more unacceptable.
I agree, but I feel like that's kind of the problem of what I've been talking about. Of it feels like they're hiding the bigger picture, and what the bigger picture, the picture that I saw from the beginning of that whole thing that he retweeted to now is completely changed. Again, first thing I saw was Black Jews, 12 tribes of Israelite. When you see that video that I'm gonna send you,
Okay.
you're gonna see the same thing that, or hopefully, what I felt was like, damn, it made sense to me. Like, it makes sense to me. The world makes sense to me now. When I was in school learning in history, it was like a history book, and literally that. When you're reading a history book, shouldn't you feel like, oh, okay, that's why. Oh, okay, that's why. When I was in school reading a history book, I was like, well, what about this? Well, what about that?
Yeah.
Well, what were these people thinking? Well, what happened between this time and that time? Well, there were just so many things where it was just like, it felt like I said, when this guy was explaining things to me, I was just like, oh my God, this shit makes sense to me. Now the world and the timeline of it feels like before he explained that to me, it felt like there was the Bible before Jesus, after Jesus, and then there was the Roman days of the Achilles and all that stuff, the Trojans, and then slavery. Like, there's so much stuff in between. It's like, what happened there? What happened between the Bible days, then the Roman days, and then slavery? Like, it just, now you might be more
Well, the Bible
educated.
days, you mean the Old Testament days, right?
Old
Or the New
Testament, New
Testament?
Testament,
The the
like,
the the
like
New
old,
Testament days happened the same time as the Roman stuff.
okay,
And
well,
then
it
Constantine became the first Christian emperor. He died. He converted to Christianity on his deathbed
right.
or something like that. You know.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, so with the whole Black Jews, and then you got to the point where what was the last guy you talked about? The last one that made a
Malcolm
comment?
Jenkins.
Malcolm Jenkins. Jews are not who we're supposed to be worried about. That kind of flipped it to where it's like, now it's Jews against Black. That was never the intention, Jews against
Yeah.
Black. What happened to Black Jews? Now, if we figure, if you got a whole bunch of Black people saying, Black Jews, what is that? What is that? Then they start looking it up. Black Jews, oh, okay, so I do have a history. So I do have a culture. So I do have something that I can listen to. That would
Yeah.
that would definitely help the Black community, because it feels like they're a part of, now that they don't have to feel like, when am I going to be part of America? You don't need to be part of America. You have your own culture. You have your own situation. You get what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
fills a small little hole. You know what I'm saying? And then you got a lot of, like you said, Black on Black crimes. Oh, it's just crimes. I understand it's just crimes, but the cesspool that these neighborhoods are, because you have nothing but people that don't have dads, that don't have a role model, that don't have anything to look forward to, or anything to live for, or anything that's like, you know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah, you
nothing
can
there.
you can blame that on like the drug war,
You can blame,
where
but who brought the drugs in? Who, you know what I'm saying? Like,
we did.
Black,
We did. The
right? So
United States did.
right. So it's like, it's
The
just like,
government did.
there's so many things that I feel like it would just help the Black community so much more if they realize, like, and let me be clear, I'm not saying every Black person's a original Jew. Like, just like, there are some original Jews that are going to be light skinned. It just is, like you said, you go through, people are moving around, and just relationships, things happen, genes,
Yeah.
so it is what it is. There are some Black people that are actually really African. They don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got African in the background. But I think it would really help the community. Not only that, but if they was to get into it, and then into the teachings of Christianity, or the teachings of Judaism, or, you know what I'm saying, something to be a structure in their life would help. And I feel like that was just completely taken away from people that could have been like, well, what is this Black Jews? What is this? And
Yeah.
then dipped into it, and then found a culture, or found something. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And now their generation from there on has something to hold on to, and something to be proud of, something to be like, you know what? It's okay. I'm this. This is what I am. I'm an Israelite. I'm a Hebrew. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? oh, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican. And it's like, yeah, but do you know how you became Puerto Rican? A Spaniard came and raped your great, great, great. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I got to be proud of these Spaniards that came in and raped my people when we were
Yeah.
just dying Indians. And now we're Puerto Ricans because we got raped by a whole bunch of people that came in and tortured us, did this.
It's rough. It's rough when your culture has a dark past like that.
Right,
You know,
right. So
this is why I'm
it
here.
just feels good to be like, you know what, my roots, and especially me being a Christian and being, growing up in a spiritual house from my dad's side, it felt good to be like, you know what, forget all that. I'm Hebrew. I'm an Israelite. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm not what these people say I am. Whether you want to say, oh, America told you that, or the white man told you you were this or that. I'm a Hebrew. I love Jesus. That's my Lord and Savior. It is what it is.
Well, hey, there's such things as Jews for Jesus. They're called Messianic Jews. Jews
right.
who also believe in they're Jewish, and then they're also believing in Jesus. My second cousin is that. But this was great. This was a great conversation to have. We should definitely do it again at some point. I don't know when. But
Well,
this
maybe
was a good chat.
maybe you'll have like after you watch the video, maybe it'll spark some more interesting things that we can talk about. So
I'm definitely better with videos than reading because
me too.
videos are more interesting than reading. I'm like Donald Trump when it comes to reading. I'm like, there are too many words on this page and not enough pictures.
I get real quick.
All right. Ending the broadcast. Everyone have a nice day. Peace.